Hey, thank you for taking the time to click on today's video. Now, I know that today we're going to be talking about pensions, and most people today understand what a pension is in philosophy, but not everyone has pensions. It's no question in society we've seen more and more corporations that have reduced the amount of corporations that are being offered to employees. And if you have a pension, maybe a state pension, maybe a federal pension, maybe you're a school teacher and you've worked long enough that you still have that opportunity of having a pension, or you work for an old school corporation and many years ago they had a pension, and then eventually over the course of time they decided to abandon the corporation in the spirit of trying to go to lesser expensive retirement options like 401ks. Well, this information is still going to be extremely handy for you. The number one fear that I see with my clients who have pensions is the decision that they're going to be faced with in how to take the pension. And so today I'm going to help make sense of what is referred to as pension settlement options, so that you better understand and you can make a wiser, more educated decision for yourself, for your family, with regards to how to take the pension. So the first thing that we need to understand is that pensions are supposed to be something that is guaranteed for the rest of our lives. When we have worked so hard, we have paid into the pension, the corporation has paid into the pension, or the state or the federal government. And the reliability of the pension is something that is typically unquestioned. Today, however, many pensions are beginning to suffer. They're underwater because they have many more obligations than they have money flowing into them. And this is a problem for a lot of pensions. I think of the Teamsters pension. I've had a number of clients that over the course of time, they've received communication multiple times throughout their retired life saying or threatening that potentially their pension was going to go away when they needed it the most. But most of the time, pensions will come out unscathed. They'll be reinsured, they'll be propped up, and they're reliably producing income essentially for the lifetime of the pensioner, for the person who worked and received that pension. But we're not there yet. We've got to be able to decide which pension election is going to be the best for us. So I've outlined for us 5 very common settlement options. Now, you may find that your situation's a little bit different. You may not actually have all 5 of these, but I find that around 80% of the pensions that I see every single day coming in and being reviewed with my clients, these pension elections are going to be an option for you. So we'll start off with the big one. And the reason that I call the big one is because when you look at your pension settlement option form, it's going to be more or less a pension settlement option estimate. What they're doing is they're suggesting to you, if you take this option 1 is going to create X number of dollars for you every single month. And here's the reality. This one's going to be probably the most attractive to you because it's going to show you the biggest dollar amount of monthly income. Now, life only, what does it mean? Well, primarily the amount of money that it is projecting to produce for you every single month is going to be dependent upon your life. So we need to understand the liability here. If you are married, you have a spouse, you have a family, and you want to make certain that they're taken care of financially speaking after you're gone, well, the life only may not be the best option. Number 2, we need to understand the brevity of the life only. As long as you're alive, the life only is going to continue to pay you what they're estimating they're going to pay you. But if you have an accident, if you're run over by the big yellow bus 30 days after starting this pension, you're going to be out of luck. That dollar amount is going to stop, and 100% of what is left to be paid out is simply going to go back to the pension company, and that will be disposed of paying other pensioners. So if you have a spouse and you want them to be able to receive income from the pension after you have passed, the life only option is most definitely not the option that you want to pick. I've seen people make this mistake, and it always leads to the same result, which is the surviving spouse without income sufficient to be able to live, or a lot less income. And while both of you are alive, that potential surviving spouse is always sweating bullets, wondering whether or not you're going to die and they're going to lose the income. Number 2 is called life with period certain. Now, number 2 and number 3 are kind of similar, so I'm actually going to start with number 3 first. Number 3 is basically called period certain because it says you get to select how many years before that pension ceases to pay out. In other words, if you have a pension and let's say that pension is worth $300,000 and you say, I want all of my money in a 10-year period certain. What that means is that every single year for the next 10 years, they're going to be sending you $30,000 plus dollars. And at the end of 10 years, that last check will be the last check. It's going to be done. Typically what I see is 5-year period certain, 10 years period certain, 15-year period certain, and 20-year period certain. Very rarely will I see anything beyond that. Now, number 2 has a bit of a twist on number 3 because it basically says life with period certain. Now, this one gives us a little bit more assurance, but here's how it works. Let's just say that you picked the life with period certain. And let's say you did life with 20 years period certain. What that means is that as long as you're alive, you, the pensioner, you, the employee, you're going to continue to receive the same amount of income every single month from this pension for the duration of your life. It doesn't matter how long you live. You could be one of those strong Norwegian types that lives until you're 107. Doesn't matter. You're going to be getting that income. However, remember that you picked life with 20-year period certain. Now, let's just say that you died 8 years into that 20-year period. So you started your pension, you live for 8 more years, and then you kick the bucket. Your surviving spouse or your family will be eligible to receive 12 more years worth of payments. This is what fulfills that period certain within the settlement option. So we have 5 years certain in life, we have 10 years certain in life, 15 years certain in life, 20 years certain in life. If this is the option that you're going to take, look at life expectancy for you. Look at life expectancy for your spouse. Do the best you can at being realistic and figuring out whether or not the life with period certain is going to be the very best option for you and for them. That then brings us to number 4, which is life with survivor. What does this mean? This is typically one of the more common, I would say, suggestions that I give to my clients, especially if they're married. And what it basically says is this: you're going to get this pension payment for the rest of your life no matter how long you live. But on the front end of this settlement option, you get to decide how much as a percentage the survivor, in this case your spouse, is going to be receiving. Now, this is going to be broken typically into 4 different parts. It's going to be life with 25% survivorship, your life with 50% survivorship, your life with 75% survivorship, or your life with 100% survivorship. Now, what this means is that let's say that you were receiving $3,000 per month and you had selected the 50% survivorship. You're going to receive $3,000 a month for the rest of your life, but when you pass, your spouse's check is going to be cut in half. They're going to receive 50% or $1,500 every month for the rest of their life. Once they've died, that's it. It's going to end. So this gives us the assurity of the fact that we're going to be able to continue receiving the same amount of income every single month for our lifetime, and we will be able to assure that our spouse, even if they outlive us, are going to be able to receive a percentage or even 100% of what we have. Now, here's what we need to understand about survivorship options. The more of a survivorship percentage you give your spouse after your death, 25% versus 50 versus 75 versus 100, the more of a percentage of survivorship benefit you give them, the less of a check you're going to get up front. And that's because the pension company is compensating for the life expectancy of your survivors. So keep that in mind. I know it may look very, very attractive for you to be able to give them 25% so you get a bigger check up front, but you need to remember their needs, and you need to remember that the longer we live, the more cost of living goes up. And so it's always something to bear in mind because you want to be able to take care of your spouse. Last but not least is lump sum. Now, lump sum, is that a pension option? Yes, it is. Is it something that you may not actually have? Yes, it may not actually be provided to you. Some pensions do not have it, some pensions do. But a lump sum option is a very, very attractive option for a lot of folks because you see, it allows you the opportunity of basically suggesting, listen, I can do 3 things. I can roll all of my pension money, that $300,000 $300,000 directly into an individual retirement account, an IRA, and I can do it without any taxation, completely and totally tax-free, going from the pension to the IRA. Number two, you're not going to have to give up liquidity. You see, when you turn on a pension, whether it's life only, life with period certain, or life with survivorship, that's it. You get what you're going to get and you lose accessibility to the $300,000. Many people will take and transfer and roll their pension into an IRA so that now immediately that $300,000 becomes accessible to them. Number three, they do it for survivorship. Is it possible if you're married that you and your spouse could die in a car accident together? Yes, it is. And as a result, people will take lump sum options. They'll roll it into the IRA knowing that that money is now theirs, that money is now accessible, and if both of them were to pass, that money that's in that IRA is now going to pass as a legacy to their kids. Number four is also important. If you know how to create income the right way for investing for income through interest and dividends, guess what? Not only could you potentially make your money safer, in other words, you don't have to worry about the pension company going under or the liabilities and the pension being underwater, as is the case with so many different various states and their pensions. Once you take this money and you roll it tax-free from the pension into the IRA, now you can intentionally and very purposefully invest that money to create income. You can invest it for interest and dividends. And guess what? You can have that pension-like income, but still have access to all of your principal. So I hope this video has been helpful to give you kind of the basic rundown of pension settlement options, helping you be better prepared for what you're going to select when the time comes for you to turn on your pension. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. I'm always available to help as many people as I possibly can. If you like this video, I encourage you, give us a thumbs up, share this with your friends. If you have a pension, maybe some of your friends do, and they could benefit from this information. And if you like our little videos, I encourage you, hit that subscribe button and that little bell, and we will notify you each and every time we have a new video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Matthew Johnson, and remember, it's up to you to make today a great day.